What's up everyone? First off, welcome to the channel. If you don't know me, my name is Garrett Campbell. And in this video, as you can see by the title, we're basically gonna be covering how to handle the I need to talk to my wife objection. And if you stay to the end of this video, you will never have to worry about how to handle this objection again. It's gonna be action-packed, so bring a pen and paper and take some notes because there's really no fluff here. Let's get into it. So the reason this objection is actually pretty unique is because it puts the blame for not buying the service on a different person. And I think more times than not, humans tend to not like tough conversations. We don't want to tell another person who is selling a thing that they don't want to buy it. So it's much easier and lower barrier to entry to have your out being another person. So it's much easier to say and less embarrassing to say, well, I need to talk to my wife versus, oh my God, this is so expensive and I don't have that much money because I'm broke, right? Like no one wants to admit to someone else that they don't have the money. It's kind of embarrassing. So it's easier and an easier out to say that they need to talk to their wife. And this is why it's crucial to where anytime you get any objection, the framework that we follow is isolate, invalidate, and then give it back to them. So that's why in stage one here, we want to make sure that the objection they say is actually this objection. So we isolate this objection because more times than not, the first thing out of a prospect's mouth is what we call a smoke screen. And a smoke screen, as mentioned before, is just a not real objection. It's just a fake thing that's masking the real problem at hand. So we isolate to identify, is this a smoke screen or is this actually the objection? So as mentioned before, it's obviously easier to put the blame on your wife than say you don't have the money because obviously that is embarrassing. So let's assume for the sake of this video that they actually just need to speak to their wife and it is not a financial objection or any smoke screen. This is actually the objection at hand. Your demeanor when you go about handling objections is very important. They're reading your body language and more times than not, communication is like 80% nonverbal and like 20% actually the words that you're saying. So your tonality, your body positioning, and the way like your energy, your aura is very important here. So our energy, aura, and all that fun stuff is basically you want to sound like a third grader, like a curious child that is just like very curious and just interested behind your thought process. You're not defensive, you're not mad, you're not trying to prove them wrong. You are honestly impartial about the whole situation and you don't really all care that much. You're just curious on why they think the way that they do and how they came to that conclusion. So your isolation statement can be something like this. Gotcha, Mr. Prospect. So, and keep in mind, like when I turn my head, I'm actually doing that on purpose. Like when a dog is curious, you're like, like this is what we're doing. So you're like, gotcha, Mr. Prospect. So like, just so I'm on the same page to understand like the dynamics of your relationship and how you guys make decisions. If your wife was here today and she was like all about it, down to do this, we wouldn't even be talking and you would have already became a client. And keep in mind, like we say that question with like an upward inflection to assume it's like a question. And then let's assume they say yes. Keep in mind, when they say yes, similar to how I said that it's not so much about the words that you say, but how you're actually saying them. Same thing goes for when you are talking to the prospect. If they say, yeah, of course, like, that's good. That is true. Like you actually can believe what they say. If they're like, yeah, that's bullshit. You know what I mean? Like you can tell by their tonality, their body language, the way they're carrying themselves. They're saying yes to like not have an uncomfortable conversation and tell you that they actually don't want to buy it. The way that they're saying it indicates that it's actually the absolute opposite and they do have a problem with the service. And if you feel like they have any level of doubt, you need to like call it out with what I call an objection seeking question. And the best way to do this is with a little bit of humor. You can be like, dude, you didn't even like half convince me. Like, are you concerned about something with the service? Like, what do you feel like could be off here? And like do that. But again, for the sake of this video, let's assume that they're like, no, this is actually perfect. Like if my wife was here, I would have already done it. If they just said that with total certainty and you believe everything they said. So at this point, you can actually move from the isolation phase to the invalidation phase. For this invalidation phase, the goal of this and like the real purpose here is to basically invalidate, obviously, the wife and their involvement in the decision-making process based upon the wife lacking experience, education, or like knowledge on the topic at hand, or any level of like authority or expertise that they actually do not have in the discussion, in the topic at hand. It obviously depends a little bit upon what specific thing that you're selling. But because in most high ticket sales roles, you're either selling something that relates to like marketing, like a marketing service, like a marketing agency, something like that, or like a coaching program. So let's say in this example that I'm the salesperson, I'm selling to a business owner who is buying a service that is a coaching program to help his business with marketing. And feel free to comment below what you guys specifically sell, and then I could help you guys with the specific service that you're selling and how you navigate this wife objection. All right, so let's get into like what to actually say to invalidate this, right? So again, very similar energy, curious third grader, confused child who just is impartial and just wants to know, to understand your thought process because I'm a curious little kid. You'd say something like, okay, interesting. And just because I don't understand how your business operates, what exactly does your wife do inside the business? Like she runs all the ads, all the content, like stuff like that. Like I didn't know she ran the marketing division for you guys. And you'd be like, no, I mean, she actually doesn't. Be like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, interesting. So does she like have a degree in marketing? Like has she successfully ran ads for like something else in the past? Like, does she have a lot of marketing knowledge? No. Do you see how we're not forcing this idea that like, you don't need to talk to your wife, go do it, right? Because there's an interesting thing. And if you guys learn anything from this channel about sales, make it this. A person is 4 times more persuaded by their own ideas than someone else's. And going into any sales conversation, you are already at a level of distrust before the conversation even starts because you are financially incentivized to say every single thing that you're saying. So if it comes out of your mouth as a salesperson, it's bullshit. If it comes out of their mouth, that means it's true. So we are not here to tell them why they don't need to talk to their wife. We are here to ask them questions to come to the conclusion that they don't need to talk to their wife. And that's what we're working through here. We're invalidating the basis, the ground that their objection actually sits on. So at this point, we've completed the invalidation phase, and now we want to move to the give it back to them phase. Just keep the ball in their court. So in the give it back to them statement, you'll say something along the lines of this. Oh, okay. Gotcha, Mr. Prospect. And like, at the end of the day, what I care more about than anything is that you improve your marketing, your business grows, and you start making more money. And it's got me thinking, because again, I'm just a little confused. And like the pause, like everything I'm doing right now, do this. What makes you, with your decision-making process, feel like it makes the most sense to involve someone in that decision who like doesn't have marketing experience or an education or even a background or know much about marketing, and also doesn't work in the business or manage that part? Can you sorry, I'm just trying to wrap my head around this. Can you walk me through like why you feel like that makes the most sense? They're stuck in the water here. They basically have to make an internal decision. Do I choose to stick to my ego and say that I am still right and I will still talk to my wife when it makes absolutely no fucking sense to do so? Do I pick ego, or do I pick essentially like stupidity? Because if there's one thing we know about humans, it's that the only thing worse than dying is another human thinking poorly upon them. And I don't want the salesperson to think I'm stupid. So I'm obviously gonna say, yeah, when you put it that way, it obviously doesn't make sense to go to her for marketing decisions. So at this part in the call, we've isolated the objection, we have invalidated the objection, and we gave it back to them. And at the point to where we're at the end of the call, usually the sales pressure is actually the highest, and you can like cut that tension with a knife, right? So the tension is low because we've been very low sales pressure, not pushing too hard on them in any way, shape, or form. The way that we kind of wrap things up here is we keep the ball in their court here. So at this point in the call, you basically just say, yeah, I see how that would make more sense. Where do you think we should go from here as far as next steps? This is basically called like a loop, right? The I need to talk to my wife objection is now like solved, like it's handled, right? So then we have to loop back and like ask for the close again. And that's where you send the invoice, they pay, you make your commission check, you close that deal, and all is well. So thank you for staying to the end of this video. If you guys want more videos like this, go ahead and subscribe here and comment below what specific objections you guys want me to handle, and then I will make a video on each and every single objection. So subscribe here, more videos are gonna be just like this, and I'll catch you on the next one.